Thanks so much once again for joining us on Business Live. Let's start with some good news on the banking sector. And despite current happenings, it appears there's still some confidence in the system. This is because Sahel Sahara and Omni banks have announced that 5 new investors have shown interest in partnering with them. We have the details plus some international stories coming up next.
112 companies in the large taxpayers office category have ignored calls from the Ghana Revenue Authority to honor their tax commitments. The Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, who confirmed this to Go Street Business, explained that those companies are part of some 457 entities who owe more than 4 billion Ghana cedis in tax revenue. One thing is clear, it's either we are being too soft on enforcement and they are taking us for granted, or obviously we are not doing our supervisory work well, he stated. Out of 6 million individual taxpayers nationwide, less than 30% of the number are registered taxpayers. 5 new investors are said to have shown interest in partnering with Sahel Sahara and Omni Bank, which has begun merger talks after receiving the initial no objection from the Bank of Ghana. The 2 banks are currently in talks with these investors to select one who will present an additional $25 million in order to meet the minimum capital requirement. Even though the central bank is said to have given the 2 banks up to the end of December this year to submit all the necessary documentation on the merger and also meet the minimum capital requirement, the 2 banks are optimistic to meet the regulator's requirement 2 months clear ahead of schedule. The Ghana Maritime Authority says it seeks to establish an integrated security plan to help improve upon its contributions to the economy. According to the authority, the plan, which is also known as the National Integrated Maritime Strategy, will provide a clearer approach to maritime issues with increased coordination between different policy areas. The strategy has become important in the wake of threats of piracy and increased seaborne crimes, which, if not curtailed, will undermine the viability of the booming maritime sector to contribute to the socio-economic development of the country. Cosmos Innovation Center has been adjudged the top prize winner for its exemplary public-private partnerships that provide solutions to pressing issues in areas such as economic development and workforce. KIC was nominated as one of 5 finalists for the P3 Impact Awards created by Concordia, the University of Virginia Darden School Institute for Business and Society, and the U.S. Department of State's Office of Global Partnerships to recognize public-private partnerships that are improving communities in the world in the most impactful ways. In a bid to boost investment in tourism in South Africa, the Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba has announced changes in some immigration rules, including agreeing visa waiver agreements with more countries. The changes are part of a broader economic turnaround program announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa last week as his team seeks to drag Africa's most developed economy out of recession. Visitors from India and China, highlighted by Ramaphosa as important investment growth areas, will have travel regulations relaxed from next month, including allowing applications for 5-year multiple entry visas. Gigaba said negotiations were also being finalized to conclude visa waiver agreements with more than a dozen countries across Africa, the Middle East and Eastern Europe, including Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt, Qatar and the UAE.